Wow.
I've been playing video games for over a decade now, but somehow I've never played any MMOs. So New World was literally a new world to me. And today I'm finally getting around to talking about how Jeff Bezos stole 2 weeks of my life from me. New World is Amazon's first attempt at making an MMORPG, and it's my first experience in this genre. So I guess you can say that Jeff Bezos took my virginity. It's a stretch, but yeah. Because in the past 2 weeks, I've put in more hours than you would at a full-time job. However, that doesn't mean that this game is great. It means that I'm kinda dumb and also suck at budgeting my time wisely. Now, I originally thought that this video was going to praise New World for how great it was, but when I started putting my thoughts into this Word doc, I began to realize more and more that I probably have more bad than good to talk about. And since I've never played World of Warcraft or any other MMO, I'm not really here to compare New World to anything else. I'm here to talk about my experience in the game as somebody who's completely new to this MMORPG bullshit. So let's go ahead and analyze this game while I have an existential crisis because I'm now realizing that I've spent the past 2 weeks of my life chopping down trees in a virtual world as somebody named Karen. Karen of Amazon. It's a clever name. It's pretty good if you think about it. I know we usually start by talking about the good, but for this video, we're gonna start off by talking shit first. First thing I want to talk about is the sheer amount of bugs that New World has. It's almost on par with your average Bethesda game, but whereas Skyrim glitches can be charming and harmless, New World's bugs are frustrating and annoying. Like, for some reason, my auto run stops working all the time. Now, I did find a solution for this issue. To get my auto run working again, I chop down a tree. I literally cut down a tree and then my auto run works again. Why the fuck does it work like that? What the hell is going on in the background of this game? This, along with things like the UI elements never leaving the screen, not being able to search chests for some reason, and your weapons literally not being able to do damage on mobs, make me want to drive a pickaxe through my keyboard. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I've had to use the unstuck option. Unstuck is used to teleport your character in the likely event that you get stuck somewhere, because for some reason your character phase shifted into a mountain and you need a way to get out. But this isn't the reason I was finally able to put this game down long enough to create a video about it. The insane amount of repetition is responsible for that. You can almost compare New World to a mobile game like Clash of Clans. When you first start, everything is exciting. You're constantly leveling up and getting new gear, you hit new trade levels, you're always hearing those casino-esque sounds for achieving something in the game. It's a really big dopamine rush. But then the progression completely halts, and the only way you can actually continue is by pulling out your credit card and buying speed-up tokens or whatever it is in most mobile games. But instead of needing money, New World demands time. After about level 30, the reality of the grind sets in. Leveling up starts to feel like a momentous task. Yeah, I've crafted like 5,000 fishing poles and I'm still like only 115 in engineering. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, I don't have time for all of this. But you might be thinking, this is normal video game stuff. Why are you bitching about this? Of course, leveling up gets slower as you progress in the game. So why the hell am I bitching about any of this? I'm bitching because nothing really changes after your first couple hours. At level 40, I'm still fighting the same skeletons I fought at level 30, which were the same skeletons I fought at level 20. Except now they have a higher number over their heads. After you've hit level 20, you've already fought about 97% of the enemies that you'll be seeing in the game. Simply put, the roster of enemies is not as deep as you could hope for. But they didn't stop at just copying and pasting the enemies, because they copy-pasted an entire city. Yeah, Windsward and Morningwood are literally the same fucking city. Oh, Morningdale, not Morningwood. That's a completely different thing. But the quests aren't much better than this. It didn't take long for an adventure to begin to feel like a chore. There's only a couple types of quests, and after you've done about 10 of them, you've seen pretty much everything that you're going to be doing for the rest of your time in the game. But friends make shitty situations more fun, right? Well, unfortunately, there's no quest sharing options, so trying to do quests with your friends is like trying to walk your dog. You do your best to stick together, but one of you is inevitably going to wander off because your neighbor is taking groceries inside. That's kind of a weird way of saying it, but you get what I'm trying to say. Nobody wants to follow you around while you complete quests and get all the XP if they're not getting anything, and there's no way to split the loot on that. So me and my friends created our own company. We're named the Angry Stepdads. Great name, came up with it myself. But the problem with companies in this game is that if you're not one of the largest companies on the server, you're not going to get shit for it. The only thing companies can own in this game is cities, and because there's no smaller forts or villages that the little companies can take, if you're not one of the top 11, there's really no point to being a company, as you stand very little chance of owning anything on your server. As for the PvP, I enjoy it. It's a good time. However, I don't know how many times I got absolutely rinsed by a player that was 20 levels higher than me. I also don't wear armor because I roleplay as a nudist from time to time. Let that shit hang, baby. But whenever I saw somebody that was considerably lower level than me, they weren't much harder to fight than a mob. It only truly felt competitive and fun if we were within a couple levels of each other. This is stupid to me. I think adding a PvP scaling system would make it more enjoyable for the majority of the player base to turn on PvP. Because right now the current meta is if you're running around as a level 20 PvP flag, you're not gonna have the best time. Especially if you put TTV in your name. I will drop what I'm doing to come kill you if you're trying to advertise your Twitch in your username. It's cringe to me. It's cringe. And just like the reskinned animals from earlier, factions are pretty much the same thing. There's nothing that really differentiates them that much other than their color. Oh, and if you don't like somebody from another faction that you're about to go to war with, just mass report them. Because right now the system's so broken that if you and all your friends mass report somebody, they just outright ban them for a little bit without actually checking on anything. People use this to hedge their bets when going to battle with somebody, and that's not a good game mechanic to have. Another thing that has been trending lately is the issue with the in-game economy. It straight up sucks. Basically, the gist of it is, players don't make enough gold doing quests to buy things from the market, leading to players ditching gold and just straight up bartering with items back and forth. Now, I'm a little too dumb to understand how deflation works, so if you want more info on that, just Google it, you'll find a bunch of stuff. And they're gonna explain it way better than I'm sure I could. Oh yeah, the story sucks too, although I can't really say the story sucks because I didn't read anything, I just mash E every time I'm getting a quest, but there was really nothing there to lure me into caring about why I'm there. I just want to go chop shit up, you know? But there are some things about the game that I do like. Let's talk about those. Okay, firstly, I think the most important aspect of a game like this is the social factor. Even if you plan on playing an MMO solo, you're still going to have to deal with other players, whether it be a good interaction or a not so good interaction. There's simply no way to avoid dealing with other people. In fact, you're heavily incentivized to work together. The reason I bought the game was because a bunch of my friends got it, and they all wanted to create a massive guild together. What I didn't see coming is that I would join up with them and no-life the game so hard that I was the one that actually created our company. As mentioned before, it's Angry Stepdads, and if you're on the Argadnal? That's another thing. I hate all these made-up fantasy bullshit words. I feel like I'm having a stroke every time I'm trying to tell one of my friends what server we're on. I'm gonna call it Argadnal. But yeah, playing with all my friends was awesome for multiple reasons. It was fun running dungeons and defeating bosses together. I also had a great time making fun of them for being a lower level than me. And sucking, as I called it. Which is kind of a stupid flex if you really think about it, because like in an MMO, the only reason you're better than somebody isn't because you're actually better at the game most of the time, it's because you're a higher level because you wasted more time collecting sandpaper and throwing axes at pigs than they have. But I would describe playing the game with my friends as competitively cooperate. And even though it's a paradox, it makes sense. I wanted to work with them, but I wanted to be better than them. And it was a driving force that kept me wanting to play the game. Most of the time. But let's talk about the strangers. The sheer amount of people on the server makes cities feel like, well, cities. Wow, that was a great analogy, huh? However, I do think it gets a little goofy when you have 35 people trying to talk to someone at the same time. But I do get that this kind of thing is like a staple in MMO games. But it was new to me, so... Now, I said I wouldn't compare New World to World of Warcraft, but this next point is about graphics. and I kind of need to compare the graphics of New World to other MMOs that I know. See, I always thought that MMOs were lacking in the graphics department because games like World of Warcraft and RuneScape aren't exactly known for their impressive graphics, because they don't have impressive graphics. And because I didn't grow up with WoW, I find that art style boring as opposed to charming. But what really stole the show for me was the sound design, because OMG, Hurting Mother Nature never sounded so damn good. The way the sounds bounce and echo around the landscape is some next level audio work. It just has a nice spatial feel to it. Here, I'll even cut the music so you can listen really quick. Fucking love it. Okay, but what about the combat? If I were to compare New World's combat to any other game, it would be Dark Souls right now. But that's because I use a light armor melee build. Am I good at the combat? Maybe sometimes. Do I enjoy the combat? Yeah, absolutely. Each weapon has its own perk, allowing you to specialize into specific styles. Furthermore, an attribute system grants you better efficiency in certain weapons. Now, Karen's build is kind of a mess. I mainly use the hatchet and the great axe, but I also carry a life staff around despite putting no points into focus, but that's mainly because I always get invited to dungeons. Anytime somebody asks if I'm a healer, I just say yes. They don't know. Who cares? Because everybody wants a healer, but no one wants to play as one. I also had a great deal of fun with PvP. Fighting with different factions over control of territories made the battles feel more meaningful. I was killing people to take their land, as opposed to just, killing people. Now, I wasn't too excited about the combat overall. Weirdly enough, I was more interested in the crafting. I love the crafting system in New World. It lets you mix and match different materials to create all sorts of things. I loved making tools. Something about crafting a high-tier fishing pole really gets my blood pumping. Now, gathering the materials to actually craft stuff isn't the most exciting thing, but I still enjoyed it. All you gotta do is run up to a rock and hit E. And then you repeat that process like 10,000 times. So once you've crafted something, what do you do with it? Well, if you're trying to make money, you can sell it on the game's market. Now, I made a couple grand selling bags, because in a game where you can fight epic monsters, I had more fun making purses. What? I don't know, it's fun. Another thing that is really worth mentioning is the price of the game. I think $40 is a more than fair price. This game has hundreds of hours of content, and even though it's a bit repetitive, it's a one-time purchase. Like, imagine paying monthly to play World of Warcraft in 2021. I'm sorry if you do that, but to me that just sounds like the dumbest fucking way to use your money I could imagine. After writing this, I'm really not sure how to feel about New World. On one hand, I want to fire up the game and collect some more iron. Oh, look at that juicy, fat iron node. But on the other hand, I think I need to get away from this time sink and get back to playing other games. Regardless, to me it's worth the price, even though it has many, many flaws. But I really should start playing other games so my YouTube channel doesn't die. And I think I'm willing to hop in bed with Jeff Bezos next time he decides to drop a game. Thanks for watching.
Wow, what a great video.